Hello and welcome to Dinim number 17. Like I was saying in the announcement before class, I am not sure what this is going to look like in terms of how many classes this mini-series will be. It will be at least one more class. I know that for a fact. I don't know if I'm motivated to give over all my notes tonight because I have a lot of notes. And that means I want to do it well, obviously. And I don't know if I want to dwell on parts of this. I mean, there's a lot of ways this could go. So it's the holiday edition, so I don't want to cram. By definition, I don't want to cram. So with that said, let's see how it goes. Ready to see how it goes? 1 or 2? 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. Hello, hello, hello. 1, 1, 2. Hello, hello. There we go. Here we go. Wake up. Wake up. It's Sukkot. It's holiday time. I know. All right. We just got done teaching about the Noahide Shabbos. Is that true? Everybody? Give me a 1 or 2. Was that a true statement? Come on. Let's go. 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. Okay, now we concluded. How do we conclude? That the Nochri should not be encouraged to stay Nochri, because the non-Shabbat for the non-Jew, meaning the non-Jew does not have any relationship with Shabbos, that's the Nochri, type 1. And see, you're with me? Give me a 1 on this. The Nochri, as far as we saw it inside, has no business with Shabbos. And we see that has been, I would say, perverted as the Shabbos Goy, as a good element to Judaism. And I don't think it's good, and I don't think it's whatever, but that's how it's accepted. That if I'm not keeping Shabbos and I'm not Jewish, then I'm a Nochri and I'm a Shabbos Goy. You know one of them. But the engine's fired up over here. Then we're saying that you should get out of Nochriville, not be a Shabbos Goy, get into your serving God, getting into your potential, getting into your identity. Ger Torah comes in because he is categorically not a Shabbos Goy. And that's really where we should get to as an ideal for mankind, is to get rid of the Shabbos Goy, which is another way of saying make Gerim, which is another way of saying get Nochri world on the level of Ger Toshav, and by definition you would have a messianic revelation, would you not? Because you would have mankind serving the God of Israel. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Yeah, it is as simple as that. Get rid of Nochri, you have Mashiach. I mean, isn't that a profound fact? Think about that. Think about that for 1 second. No Nochri, no Shabbos Goy. Eliminate with attention Shabbos Goyism and promote Ger Toshav-ism. By definition, you would have Mashiach on this planet. How many other systems do you know that can categorically claim that they have that their vision could be messianic? Is that not profound? I mean, Chabad and Breslov, everybody can say, if the Rebbe is Mashiach, we would have Mashiach. Well, that's a big if. You're making the whole vision contingent on my Rebbe is the Messiah. I'm saying you don't even need a Messiah for this to work. Just by definition, everyone says, well, if the Jewish people kept 2 Shabboses, Mashiach would come. All right, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of prophecies out there. Jerusalem is rebuilt, but you go build Jerusalem. Let me know how you're going to do that. Are you going to, and how? You can't just go and build Jerusalem. if I could build a temple, Mashiach would come. Well, good luck getting up there. Good luck. But Ger Toshav is doable. I would even go as far as saying we're doing it. I mean, that's a pretty profound statement too. But it's doable. And it's not only doable, if people would stop making ridiculous claims, they do want Ger Toshav. That's the thing. The Nochri is trying to say Ger Toshav in all of his Hebrew roots, Ephraimite, Messianic, root, what do you call it? Ideologies of these treif groups. All they're trying to say is the Gentile matters, but in a way that's not Shabbos Goy Nochri, and there's just a block preventing people from going Ger Toshav for the most lame reasons possible. And we outlined some of those lame isms last week as the second half of the class, where our anonymous commentator cried wolf through putting a stumbling block before the blind. That's kind of the ideology that came down over the last three classes. Anybody else have anything to add on that? I'm kind of spinning it at this point into more of a thing, but I don't remember all of the things we talked about offhand, but we basically said get the Nochri going on his path to where he's not blind, to put a stumbling block for the blind, and then the Ger Toshav is not blind. We technically finished, and again, I'm not rushing because I know this is going to be, like I said, at least one more class, so I'm not in a rush. It's the holiday edition. I hope you're not in a rush. We're just going to set up some things here for this miniature series. All right, so I'm thinking, building off the last week, remember that one of the non-pronounced themes of the last series was that Shabbos and learning Torah, which I want to start calling that Talmud Torah, type 1. If you are on board with me calling learning Torah Talmud Torah, type 1. If you are on board with me calling learning Torah Talmud Torah. So Talmud Torah and Shabbos are really two sides to one coin. Does anybody have a problem with that statement? We saw it in the Rav Hutner. We saw it in the Rambam, kind of in a negative. I mean, he's not telling you that, but it's inferred through Hilchos Malachim 10:9 and 10:10. Does everybody see how concerning the non-Jew, the Talmud Torah and Shabbos, either prohibition or acquisition of sorts, two sides to one coin? And you can make the argument that the nation of Israel, Jewish people proper, were given Shabbos and Talmud Torah as kind of a thing. And we're going to keep that general. What that thing is, that's not the point of the class, but you can see in a general framework here, it's a thing. So going on that, we solved the non-Jewish Shabbos. I went into today thinking, what is the bottom line of the non-Jew learning Torah? Type 1 if you're with me, just in terms of where we came from, where we're at, and if you're prepared to go forward. Everybody give me one on this? Just kind of, are we in the same headspace? And in my research today, I came across the source in Sanhedrin 59b. Can a non-Jew keep Shabbos? Because again, they're two sides to the same coin. And I'm going to oscillate back and forth between those two things because they're a thing. See what I'm saying? Whenever you go in one stream of consciousness, there's usually the other stream right next door ready to happen. And I'll go ahead and tell you the riddle now as it happens. What is the real reason? I'm speaking with Fip Shuto here, which means I'm not speaking truth. You understand what I mean by that? We're speaking kind of archaic, rabbinic terms. When I say rabbinic, I'm not talking Rabbi Akiva. I'm talking about your run-of-the-mill rabbi in a congregation that met one non-Jew once in his life somewhere, and some non-Jew on Facebook asked that rabbi, "Rabbi, can we learn Torah?" Everyone hear me on this mushal? Again, we're not talking Rabbi Akiva here. We are not talking the Vilna Gaon. I'm not calling them rabbis. Those are sages. That is the Torah proper. We're not talking about Torah proper. We're talking about Bob Shmelowitz. He's a congregation rabbi in Shmelowitzville, and he's on Facebook, and he loves the 7 laws. You know that guy? He loves to post Lubavitch videos on the 7 laws, and a lot of nice non-Jews messaged him on Facebook, and they said, "Rabbi Shmelowitz, I'm a non-Jew. I just came out of the church. I'm feeling good about myself. Can I learn Torah?" Type 1 if you can relate to this, if you've ever heard about this, if that was you, if you know a guy like that, if you understand what I'm talking about, if this is not far-fetched, if you can relate to this scenario. All right, we all know this guy. That rabbi is not Rabbi Akiva. Type 1 on that. When we say rabbi, until instructed otherwise, we are not talking real great rabbis, i.e. sages. We are talking fringe, Kiru, Facebook, internet, Smallville, Arkansas, the community to 15 Jewish families, okay? That's our rabbi for this discussion. A lot of people wonder why I take a derogatory tone with rabbis. I don't. I cannot compare Bob Shmelowitz with the Vilna Gaon. That's a ridiculous thing to do. Rabbis of Vilna Gaon, Baal Shem Tov, those again are, in my book, for the sake of discussion, are not rabbis. They are sages of Torah. It is a completely different category. I myself am not a rabbi by that scale. I am David Katz of Dayton, Ohio, and I do what I do. But I'm not a sage of Israel. Does everybody understand the difference there? That is a fundamental difference. By the time of the 21st century, there really are not any rabbis left of that caliber. That is a very important law that you guys have to know. Right? No rabbi today can claim to be on the level of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, of Moshe Feinstein, all the guys, Rav Hutner and Chavetz Chaim and beforehand. Does anybody have a problem understanding why that is? It's a new era. The era of the Achronim. Everyone know the different eras? The Rabbi Akivas of the world were the Tanaim. The sages of the Talmud were the Hamarayim. The Rashis and Rambams are the Rishonim. Now, even though these words have meanings, they're not exactly necessary for understanding or comprehending this. Then you had like the Arizal, Kabbalah, Yosef Karo, Sfat, 1600s. Vilna Gaon, Baal Shem Tov, Ramchal, 1700s. Rav Hirsch, Rabbi Nachman, 1800s. Chavetz Chaim, turn of the century. World War II. Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rav Moshe, Rav Hutner, closing out the 20th century, type 1. That is the last 2,000 years of Torah scholarship that was written down from the Mishnah to the Talmud to the Gemara. I'm telling you, hold on. And then explained and commentaried by the Rishonim. And the commentaries of the Rishonim were elucidated by the Achronim. That's your 1600 to the 21st century. And that era ended around the year 2000. People might argue about that, but they're wrong. They're just wrong. If they argue, it's because they didn't think about it. John, good to see you. And if they thought about it, they would realize that any rabbi today claiming to be on the level of those guys, everybody would agree they're not on that level. That is just how it is. It's not to be disputed. Again, anybody that would dispute that, I would just write that off as a non-discussion. That's also why a lot of things are a bit controversial, like on Facebook and things like that. Addo and Jacques, you know what I'm talking about, the South African situation, is, again, this generation is orphaned. It's a Hefker, abandoned generation. We are not the rabbis of old. Meaning Rabbi David Katz will never write a classic work of Torah like the Mishnah Brura of the Chavetz Chaim. The answer is because everything has been written. I don't have to write the book on Ger. Right? Can you understand why I don't need to write the David Katz Chedushi Torah of Ger? Because it's already done. My job is to tell you, go read Rashi, go read Rambam, go read Rav Hutner. I mean, what would I really write? Hi, my name is Rabbi David Katz. Rashi meant to say that the Ger Toshav of Yevamos 48b was a non-Evid Ger, and it was a righteous Gentile. Do I really need to write that in a book? Because everybody is on a level that they forgot how to learn Rashi. I now need to learn a book called Rabbi David Katz, how others, myself and others, can learn how to read Rashi. Everybody knew Ger. That's the Chiddush. Rashi knew Ger. Rambam knew. Everybody knew it. Everybody wrote it in their commentaries, as we saw with Rav Hutner. Did Rav Hutner get Ger? I read you some excerpts 2 weeks ago. Did Rav Hutner get Ger? Yes, he did. Type 1. Everyone give me a nice, healthy 1. So what am I going to write? Hi, everybody. Rabbi David Katz here in my Chedushi Torah book. Rav Yitzchak Hutner of Pachan Yitzchak, he got Ger. Can you imagine me writing a book like that? He got Ger. All right, did Rabbi Nachman get Ger? Just give me a bunch of ones here. Did Rabbi Nachman get Ger? Did the Lubavitcher Rebbe get Ger? Did the Chavetz Chaim get Ger? Did Rav Hirsch get Ger? All right, we know this. There's no argument in Ger. It's a thing. Everyone wrote about it. It's clear. No need to write that book. Well, that's a half-truth. We did write the book, but we translated Rav Aaron Soloveitchik's work on Ger. And that's where my personal rabbinics is going, is bringing the sources clear to people like you and those listening, either translating or explaining what was already written so that people can get the Torah as it is in its pristine state. But you will not find me writing a new angle on Ger, which kind of destroys the conspiracy theories out there that I'm making up Ger as I go, right? If I did, it would be one heck of a book. Rabbi David Katz's opinion on what a Ger can do. Yeah, it's called the Shulchan Aruch. Thank you. So in this generation, everyone has to find themselves in the rabbinic world. Because, again, everything's been done. Everything's been written. Now our job is to be the light to nations, teach the Torah, and bring that finished Torah to the Bali Tshuva in the Ger, as Rabbi Nachman explains very well and clear in Likutei Moharan. Everyone with me? Again, on an ideological note, are you with me? So again, when we speak about rabbis today, there needs to be a consciousness that rabbi is not the Chavetz Chaim, it's not Rabbi Nachman. These are a new breed of rabbis, and that does not make them shlomazels. These are a human is a human. You don't say one generation is better than this one. What we're saying is the function of the rabbi has changed, and that is not a new concept. How many of you have heard of Rabbi Akiva? How many of you have ever heard of a sage of the Talmud? enter whatever sage you want. Just a sage of the Talmud. I don't know if all of you know this. Of the Amoraim, the sages of the Talmud, they are not allowed to argue against the Tanaim. How many of you just heard that for the first time? Type 1. Type 2 if you've already known that. All right, so every 500 years or so, there's a shift. How many of you have ever heard of Rashi? How many of you have ever known or heard that Rashi was a Rishon? May help you one on that. Can Rashi argue against the Talmud? He cannot argue against the Talmud. That is an illegal thing for him to do. Rashi in his time understood that rabbis changed. The Talmud was sealed. Why do you think Rashi did not write tractate Rashi Shmashi? Why didn't Rashi write that tractate to the Talmud, Rashi Shmashi? Because Rashi understood that the Talmud was sealed and that his function was to elucidate the Talmud. Rashi realized, hey, I'm Rashi. I have a great gift. It's called, I can explain the Talmud, and that's my job, because no one in my generation knows Talmud, but I seem to have a good lock on it. I should explain the Talmud for everybody. Rashi was not debating whether or not he was going to be the next Rabbi Akiva to bring us a great new law in Torah. Type 1. And then the Vilna Gaon happened, and the Baal Shem Tov. And they told themselves, you know what, guys? There's a new level rabbi. We like Kabbalah a lot. We like the Zohar. We like Jewish thought and philosophy, ideology, Zionism, going back to the land of Israel. They realized that there was about 500 years of academia explaining the Talmud in oral Torah through the Rishonim, type 1. There was a Rambam, a Rashi, a Rush, a Rif, the Torah, all kind of good guys. Tosfos. And these guys from 1600 to the 20th century, 21st century, realized that they could talk about the Rishonim talking about the Torah. And then all those guys died off. And now there's rabbis who, some of them, their claim to fame is making a status update on Facebook. Bless their heart. And they're all unemployed, not realizing that the employment is being light to nations. They're all looking for something to do, and they don't know what to do. They think they're rabbis that on the level that were, when the real idea is that their function has changed. Again, as it does every 500 years or so. Now, what that function is now, well, I guess we're still writing that story, that script. And it seems like the non-Jews have a hand in writing that script. Because in the previous 500 years, the non-Jew was in the church. He was the one that we were countering, right? Type 1 if you know what I'm talking about. We were proving how the Torah is not Yeshu. And the Christians were saying how it is Yeshu. Not every rabbi engaged in counter-missionary, but you understand the approach. There were Jews on this side and Christians on that side. Now, with the internet and technology, you have non-Jews leaving whatever they were in. You have Jews coming out of the shtetl, and now you have rabbis. A being trying to figure out what a rabbi is. B, you have rabbis now being rabbis to non-Jews. So you have a new function. Again, I don't think it's possible to argue this point. In fact, I know it's not possible to argue this point. Now, people will argue, but that just means they didn't think it through. Because if you thought it through, there would be no argument. So now we can understand the rabbis today. And the non-Jew comes and says, Rabbi, can I learn Torah? Can you teach me Torah? The rabbi that you ask that to, generally speaking, he will run into several issues. Does anybody know the issues? Anyone name for me some of these issues? There's a general non-Jew and a general new rabbi, and they come together, and the rabbi is going to have some hesitations. What are they? Let's see what you guys got to say. Are they serious? Not Jewish? How bad do you want it? Now, how motivated is our rabbi to get these answers? Some say not motivated. Not there. Now, where is the rabbi going to get the answers? Even for his lukewarm attitude. I mean, he's not going to just make it up. I don't want to work with non-Jews. Where is he going to draw from? That's also true. How many of you ever heard of a thing that I like to say called the party line? You guys ever hear of this thing called the party line? Okay. The party line that I'm aware of is two things. The Rambam said a goy that learns Torah is chayav misa. Let me pick one of them. The other party line is, it is forbidden to teach Torah to Gentiles. Some people will say, well, I am prepared to teach you the 7 laws of Noah and nothing else. Some people will say, I don't even know if I'm supposed to teach you the 7 laws of Noah. You need to learn that by yourself. That's not my job to teach you the 7 laws of Noah. Those are the party lines that I'm aware of. If you have another party line, go ahead and type it in if you want to. But are we all on the same page here of our little fictitious story that we're inventing? Okay. Now, the party lines, they did come from somewhere, did they not? Did our party lines come from somewhere? I mean, this guy didn't. We don't have rabbis making it up every day, do we? There's a source for the party line. And I'll tell you what, Rebbe Akiva didn't give that party line because he was a rabbi. He would tell you the source, type 1. The Chavetz Chaim would tell you the source. The problem is when they were rabbis, there was no non-Jew around to ask them the question. In the last 2,000 years, we had very few, and few in number, call it Noahides. We can believe that, can't we? There was not a Noahide movement in the year 1500 of creation, or this era, right? Really, from what we know, this phenomenon is new. Really new. Since like the first temple, second temple. So in the years of exile, we've never had such a movement going on. But the rabbis that wrote Torah of the last 2,000 years, apparently this Rabbi David Katz claims that those rabbis have written the tradition about the non-Jew and what their Jewish relationship is with them, what we can do, what we don't do, what we should do, and what we shouldn't do. That's speculation. We don't know if we can trust this Rabbi Katz. So while Rabbi Katz seems to be the only one out there with this stuff, I hate to say it that way, there's a lot of party lines, and the party lines are quoting from something. Let me tell you what the party lines are quoting from. We cannot teach Gentiles Torah. Okay, type 1. Type 1. That comes from Chagiga, 13a. Something over there in Aramaic and Hebrew, but I probably never looked it up. I heard it says you cannot teach a goy Torah. Okay? Number 2, I heard in yeshiva once, the Rambam said a goy learns Torah chayav misa. Maybe you can quote it for you, Hilchos Malachim 10:9. What was the third one? I forget, what was my third party line? I forget the third one. What was the third one? I just said it about 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago. What was the third one? Rambam. No, I'm talking about learning Torah. You don't teach non-Jews. The Rambam. Forget the third one. Yeah, I forget what it is. But anyways, that's a different one. Anyways, my point is these are the party lines you're going to hear. So now, with that said, when Rabbi Shmelowitz decides to look it up, okay, party lines are over. He's going to look it up. And when he looks it up, he's going to see, and it's not easy to look it up, by the way, because there's a lot of threads to this. Let me ask you a question. What does looking it up mean? Let's start there. What does it mean to look it up? Is there like a secret book called How the Non-Jew Learns Torah? Where does this rabbi look it up? What does it mean, research? It's such a good word. I like that word, James. That's what it is. It's research. Follow the thread. Familiar sources first. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. That's exactly right. So, if you can't find the thread, I don't know why you're calling yourself a rabbi. I don't think it's too hard to ask Rabbi Google. I'm going to challenge you guys right now. Okay? Everyone go to, I'm not even going to do it. I want you to bring back the answer. Everyone go to Google and type in the following words. Can a goy learn Torah? And tell me what it says. Tell me what comes up. Everyone on it? Can a goy learn Torah? It's a very straightforward, easy question. Rabbi Google should know the answer. What comes up, guys? Let's go. Jacques, Ross, Aaron, let's go. Everyone. Wait, what is that? Ugh, I gotta read this. Okay. So we got the Chabad that saying some kind of messianic thing. Not messianic, but like Mashiach. The time of Mashiach. Come on, Jacques, what do you find? Everybody? Is everybody looking this up? 1 2 2 2 1 1 1 1 1 2 2 2 2 2 1 1 1. If you're following along at home, look it up also. All right, so now ask the Rabbi, may is using Torah to a Gentile. All right, everyone now has seen a little bit of this now, correct? The big one on this. And if I challenged you Could you start to find some references now of where the discussion is at? Even one. A Gentile may not learn Torah except for his 7 Noahide laws, punishable by death. It follows that. Okay. So you can now get inside. We call that getting inside. Could you get inside? So now when you get in, you're going to hit the Rambam, Hilchos Melachim 10:9. But let me tell you what it looks like on my end. All right? I know from passing research, there's a Gemara in Chagiga. It says you are not to teach some kind of non-Jew Torah. Okay? Does that sound like a nice party line? You cannot teach a Gentile non-Jew Torah. Did I say that in English or in Hebrew? Is that a problem that I said it in English? Is it not authoritative enough for you? Well, not only is the Hebrew nice, Mr. Rogers, it's essential. Because the word there for non-Jew happens to be akum. And the level of Torah that this akum cannot learn is only Kabbalah. And it is allowed to teach him his 7 laws. That already makes a bit of a difference, doesn't it? Big difference. Then you look up in Baba Kama, I think 38a, if I'm not mistaken. A or B? Rambam, Hilchos Melachim 10:9. Here's another question for you. What is the source? Also Sanhedrin 59b, right? But what is the source of the traditional rabbis, the sages? Where are they basing it from that the non-Jew, whatever he is, cannot learn Torah? Does anyone even know the source of that? Everybody open up their Chumash to Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, and post the link when you have it. Everyone should be looking it up. Genesis chapter 8, verse 22. There it is. That's what it is. Who posted this? Yeah, not that one. There it is. Noah got off the boat, and he was told that the work should not stop day and night. Presumably, Noah is a type of non-Jew, and he is to never stop working. Not day, not night, never stop. Does that mean that the non-Jews are slaves, that they have to work 24/7, 120 years? You're never allowed to cease? Like it says, literally, day and night shall not cease? A lot of people. By the way, this is not the only. I made a bit of a mistake. This is the source for Shabbos, mind you, but learning Torah is connected to it. Sorry about that. This is the source for Shabbos. So correction. Well, we're doing the Torah one in a second. Because what don't you get, James Rogers? I did make a say this is Shabbos. Pardon me. I mean, it's going to tie into Torah in a second. The question in the commentators of the verse, or the angle is, what does it mean never stop working? What does it mean to never stop working? Again, I told you we're going to oscillate between Shabbos and Learn Torah. So let's. How many of you have ever heard of the word avoda? Avodah. The type of labor, service. How many of you have ever heard of the word malacha? Malacha. Is malacha the same kind of work as avoda? Not the same. Which one do you think this verse is talking about? Malacha or avoda? Malacha. Indeed. So if it's talking malacha, isn't it now a completely different connotation of this Gentile who is to never stop working? We don't even know what a Gentile is. Whatever it is, he is to do continuous malacha. Malacha is not the same word for work. Now here's where the Torah comes into it. Ready? The commentators suggest that if you stop doing malacha, you die. So this sounds pretty good, that the non-Jew would not stop doing malacha. We don't want them to die. Type 1. But then, if the Jewish people are commanded to not do malacha, does that mean we are to die on Shabbos? Type 1. So the answer is, there's a type of malacha that's not the same as physical malacha. You are allowed to engage in spiritual malacha, i.e. Torah. So how does a Jew do malacha on Shabbos? By studying Torah. Type 1. So the question now comes up. If the Jew, remember I told you, Shabbos and Talmud Torah are two sides to one coin, correct? If the Jewish people were given Torah, it is understandable that they would have a Torah to learn on Shabbos, correct? And the non-Jew, what do we do with this guy? You have to do malacha. They don't want you to die. But now, do you have to do physical malacha on Shabbos? Or can you do spiritual malacha on Shabbos? I.e., if you can only do 7 laws and Torah for 7 laws, can you learn Torah of your laws on Shabbos? But the kasha is, 7 laws are not a lot, and it's not enough to sustain you on Shabbos. There's only so much you can learn. Don't kill another person. Don't steal. It's not going to be an entire Shabbos. That makes you a Shabbos goy, doesn't it? If you're doing malacha and you're barely learning Torah, are you not a Nochri and a Shabbos goy? Type 1. And then the verse fits pretty good, doesn't it? It's a Nochri, he does malacha, yeah, he's got his 7 laws, but it's not enough. The Jew doesn't do malacha on Shabbos because he's learning Torah, and the non-Jew does malacha for the Jew, Shabbos goy, right? Don't we all know a world that believes that whole story, that is a finite system? Did we not summarize the entire world on one foot in those couple sentences? But what if the non-Jew does have Torah to learn on Shabbos to sustain him? Can you guys fathom such a concept? So the question becomes, can the non-Jew learn Torah? See why I pinned it on the Shabbos thing? It's really, it goes together. What do you guys think the answer is? Now, this again, where we have our party line from Rabbi Shmelowitz. Can the non-Jew learn Torah? Can the Jew teach? Well, I guess what I meant to say was, where do we learn? That's why I brought it here. I forgot my mindset. But the question is, where is the root in the Torah that the question of can a non-Jew learn Torah come from? That's what I meant to say. Now do you see the question? Where do we learn that there is even a question in the root in the Torah, can a non-Jew learn Torah? You see what I'm saying? That the Shabbos issue begs the question. Otherwise, there's no question. Only because of the Shabbos issue there becomes a question. So now, if we're going to answer our Nochri friend, our Akum, or Goy, or non-Jew, or whatever type of non-Jew this presumably is, he now has a reason to ask me, the rabbi of this generation, can he learn Torah? And I'll say, you can learn your 7. And now we're at a stalemate. Because anything more than that, the Rambam says, you're stealing, or it's forbidden for me to teach it to you, because you're Akum. And one of the things I didn't mention yet, it could be considered putting a stumbling block before the blind. That's a great segue to Alan Cecil's point. Is that not correct, James Rogers? And we're going to need to really address how it's putting the stumbling block before the blind. Remember I told you the riddle? That's our riddle. That is our riddle, and we don't have an answer for it yet. Again, the riddle is, why is it not possible, perceivably, for the non-Jew to either learn Torah or for the Jew to teach the non-Jew Torah? Predicated on non-Jew. Everyone agrees that there are 7 laws that are allowed in their study. But why does it stop there? When the non-Jew asks Rabbi Shmelowitz, Why does he stumble? Why does he give the party line? We said because he looked it up, maybe, right? If you look it up, you'll get these things. And we challenged you 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago to look it up. And you would have found me the Rambam. And that's about it. If you would have really looked it up, you would have showed me Chagiga in the Talmud, 13a. And from there, you would need to go into our friends. You would go into the Talmud, which is the Tanaim and Amoraim. You would need to visit the Rishonim, all of your Rashis and Rambams. And then you would need to visit the Achronim, your later rabbis. And then you would need to realize, as a rabbi today, what is the truth? Can a non-Jew learn Torah either by a rabbi, a Jew, or by himself? Everyone hear the question? Now, I'll tell you the answer. And the answer is yes. Let's just say it's yes. Give me a big one. The answer is yes. But how do we get to that yes? Does everyone now really hear the question? We have our party line no, or kind of, right? Everyone hear the kind of? You can do your 7, go to heaven. We'll call that kind of, right? No is either more than that no, or some people don't even know that you can learn 7. So everyone got the no and the kind of? Type 1 or 2, whatever it is. And Rabbi Katz, and Rabbi Korfin, and others are claiming yes. I think it's a fantastic question. What do you think? You guys think it's a good question? And I will tell you, every stumbling block from our Nochri friend who's trying to become a Ger Toshav, and he's stuck as a Shabbos goy, he is only deprived of Shabbos, not because of Shabbos or that he's a Nochri. It's because people don't want to know how to get him out of Nochriville through learning Torah. Because if he had Torah, he would learn it on Shabbos. Therefore, he would press for Shabbos, his right of Shabbos. And that's where we're going to stop for today.